Bloody bet your bottom dollar, it's BackChat. That's right.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
like
went off
that?
the bat with that. That's tough.
Powered by Fleet Network. BackChat brought to you in the best way possible by a great company in Fleet Network. Thank you. If you are in the market for a new car, make sure you go see the guys down at Fleet Network, fleetnetwork.com.au. We're here with another current former. We're here with a current West Coast Eagle.
Yeah, sure.
And former Brisbane Lion, Alex Witherden.
Thanks, mate. It's good to see you've delisted me already.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. I should have said former Geelong collegian,
true.
right?
We'll get
so
there.
we're getting into that. We get the Geelong boys on here. We'll look after them. Look, as we know, and I do have a couple of birdies telling me you're a bit of a BackChat fan. So I hope you know what's coming here, mate. We know what you've done. You've been a high draft pick. You've been at 2 clubs. You've gone to Brisbane. You've gone to West Coast. You've been dual Rising Star nominee, I believe, unless that's made up.
7 goals in a grand final.
Mate, he's even
Best on
captain of the
ground.
Geelong college team, right, which is huge, the Pegasus. But I will start with the question we ask everyone. We don't care, okay? We want to know what your greatest sporting achievement is not on the football field. We know you're a good footballer. We know you can kick the footy. We know you're a backman. They're ticking a lot of boxes. I'm here to tell you that. But we want to know your greatest sporting achievement not on the football field.
As you mentioned, I have listened to the odd BackChat podcast over the time. I do like your work, Scully.
And Dan.
Yep. Not that you're a Freo supporter though.
Correct. He's not a Freo supporter, so he's not a Freo supporter.
I thought you were a Freo supporter.
No, he's a massive West Coast nuffy.
Oh,
No,
perfect.
and I like to get at Fremantle supporters as well online.
Cool. Well, I'm going well then. But my biggest sporting achievement, not related to footy, was 12 years old. Played in a McDonald Hoops state basketball grand final before the New Zealand Breakers Melbourne Tigers game at what's that old stadium they used to play at in Melbourne, in Carlton somewhere. No. Played there
Curtain raiser.
in a curtain raiser and won the state basketball grand final. So not much of a hooper,
big.
but my team was pretty good, so got carried along.
What sort
But
of role did you play in that team?
I was the point guard, so I'd dribble the ball, but I'd just pass it. So I'd dribble it down the court and be a bit of a distributor, sort of the way I played my footy, but couldn't shoot, couldn't defend, any of that sort of stuff. But
So that's not how you play your footy.
yeah, but just got the ball up, distributed off, gave it to the shooters and did my thing.
So you're a playmaker. You don't talk back down. It's a vital piece of the cog in a basketball team.
It's important. So
Right on.
We haven't had many basketball-related achievements.
No.
We like it.
Yeah, love it.
It's not the best, but we like it. You're a state champion.
I was part of a team. I was state champion. Still got a state champion medal at home. So
Did you hang out with the breakers and stuff afterwards?
Nah, we got to high five the Melbourne Tigers players as they ran out onto the field, and they were a pretty big deal back then. They used to be.
What
pretty
year
good.
would have that been?
Leonard Copeland.
2010.
That's early days.
2010.
I couldn't even remember a 2010 player from the Tigers then.
They were pretty good.
Yeah.
Late 2000s.
Yeah.
Early 2010s.
Post Gazy era.
Yeah. Yeah.
Witho, what car are you driving right now? So, car are you driving?
I am driving a Toyota Hilux.
So, look, I think you can probably upgrade. That's just my opinion. BackChat powered by Fleet Network, right? They can sort you out in that regard. I want to know what sort of car you drove as your first car. What was your first car?
Toyota Hilux. It's just,
Is that it?
No, it's not the same one. It's a different one. My old man has a building company in Geelong, Chambray Building Co. So
Shout out.
if you're in Geelong and need someone to build your house, there you go.
There you go.
But
Perfect.
they had a lot of utes,
Love that.
a lot of utes in the family. So just got one off my folks to drive around. Birthday in September, so sort of late in the school year. So I had it for about a month or two. Got drafted, got a few of my first paychecks, and I thought I got this free car, but mum and dad were chasing up the payment for the car pretty quickly. So
They made you pay for it.
yeah, fair enough.
Good on 'em.
They were
Absolutely.
discounted, but yeah, I paid for it.
No silver spoons in the
Mate, I
middle
was
of the
I
house.
was earning enough money to be able to buy my own car. So
Good.
they, whether they need the money or not, it's more about setting a precedent.
What was your first job then? Were you on the tools?
In school holidays, I'd go do some manual labour for my old man. I wasn't very good at
Was that your
cutting
first job?
stuff. Yeah, that was my only job.
Did you say you weren't good at cutting stuff?
No, I wasn't good at he'd have me, cutting trusses and that sort of stuff and trying to get the right angles and measuring stuff out, but I'd be no good. So I'd just carry it around and help lift windows and that sort of stuff.
Measure
long
twice, cut
days,
once.
long days. Shout out to all the chippies out there because
Yeah.
they do it tough. And we've got a few Waffle Eagle players that are on the tools from 7 o'clock till 4 or 5, then come and train. And geez, shout out to them because it's
Real
hard
men.
work.
They're real men.
They're real men.
Yeah.
Now, when we have someone coming in, we do our research, gather information, and one of those sources is Wikipedia. Look, we're not proud to admit it, but it's a free information source. I don't know what
People that shit on Wikipedia, they're pretenders.
They're correct.
They all go to Wikipedia.
But we have a question about your Wikipedia page.
Yeah, well, my mates have been on there frequently and edited it, so I don't know.
What do you want to ask about it?
Was it written by your mum? Because it seems very much like, very proud of Alex at this time when he, stood upon.
So I did an interview in my draft year with a young up and coming journalist that was sort of doing some draft profiling and that sort of stuff, and it felt like a bit of a storytelling sort of thing. I'm not sure what it says now. It could be different, but I remember looking at it a few years ago. Because my mates were going on there and just putting stupid shit in there, but
it reads hilariously. It's sort of okay, that's real, but then there's another line. It's I don't know if that could have happened. For instance, right? Did you break your leg while you were at Geelong College?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Was it Tim Taranto that fell on your leg?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Did you break it in 5 different places?
Yeah, 6. Yeah.
Okay, so it was 6. Okay, so we'll go back on that. So that all seems right.
Yeah.
But then the next line is, and Alex used to ride an electric scooter around school because there was no other way to get around. And just the way it's written, I'm like, is
it's
that
he
real?
felt
that's real. Yeah.
He felt that there was less weight applied to his leg, so he jumped on a scooter and he rode around school extra
so
detail.
My leg was pretty fucking sore,
Yes.
broken in multiple places. So I had to try and keep it elevated. So my old man, being a carpenter, went and bought me a dirty grandpa scooter, one of those scooters that old men ride.
Oh, like a gopher.
Like gopher.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so much better than what I imagined in my head.
So one of those old people scooters. He built this little rail onto it so I could ride with my leg elevated at all times.
Oh,
so that stopped the swelling. So I'd ride around school.
That's amazing.
And have my leg elevated, sit in class. I wouldn't sit in a chair. I'd just sit on my scooter and
have a horn on
do
it.
my school. It had a horn on it. Had everything. Went pretty quick. And I lived. Scully would know, but there's a pub just down the road from Geelong College called the Diggers. So I lived on Skeen Street. So it's 200 metre commute to school. So I'd just ride my scooter in the middle of the road up there. Cars would wait for me.
So good.
Did you have to wear a helmet?
Nah.
Did you have a flag? Did you have an orange
I didn't
flag?
have a flag.
Basket?
I had a basket. Yeah, I'd put all my books and computer and everything.
What
in
colour
there.
was it? I want to know so much.
It was
about
red.
Yes.
I've got a photo of me on it somewhere.
Okay, you'll be submitting that for our socials.
But
Thank you very much.
I remember in my draft year I had a Channel 9 come around and they were doing the draft profile videos, and I wish I had the footage, but they got me driving around corners and I'd be doing a little skid into a little mud patch, and I just got, when you're young you just get sucked into doing stuff that you just wouldn't do now. But
So this happened in your draft year?
yeah, so I think it was 4 weeks into my draft year. I broke my leg, didn't play again in my draft year at all. So,
Wow.
yeah, it was pretty challenging.
So that was Geelong College, Geelong Falcons. You're a Geelong boy, as I've sort of bounced around a little bit. That's Mick Turner Footy Factory for those playing alone at home. You played some time with Newtown and Chilwell.
St. Joey's.
Yeah, but you played a couple of games with Newtown and Chilwell?
0 games for Newtown and
thank you
Chilwell.
very much.
Played
Wikipedia.
against Newtown and Chilwell a fair bit.
Okay, so you're St. Joey's, I was Newtown and Chilwell. I just sort of bringing us together here down there is some allegiances that we share. So you play through Falcons as a junior and college footy, so you balance between those, and then you draft year as a 17-year-old, 18-year-old.
18-year-old, yep.
You break your leg. So I'm assuming, given the fact you went a pick 23, you must have been a higher prospect than that to play no footy and then to go at 23 after that.
Yeah, well, I mean, you never know how the year's going to go. But I was part of the AFL Academy at the end of my 17th year.
So that's the AIS effectively.
AIS, essentially, yeah. Went to America at the end of that the pre-season of my 18th year, which is pretty good. So
what sort of names, who was on that with you?
McCluggage, Berry, who I got drafted with to Brisbane, Powell Pepper, Bowes, Waterman, Rotham were both there.
Jake Waterman and
Josh Rotham, yep. Huh. Jai Simpkin, Will Brodie, Ben Ainsworth.
Right, so that's your draft class effectively.
Yep. So,
good patch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then you go that, you come back to school. Tim Taranto's playing for St. Kevin's.
Yep.
and what stoppage falls on your leg, breaks your leg.
Yep. So I was playing so I was a half back in my 17th year. Mick Turner did that with a lot of sort of younger midfielders. So, Darcy Parish, myself, like sort of did that going through, and then came into the midfield in my top age year. Played some decent footy the first couple of weeks, then played for college against St Kevin's. We were down by 80 points at half time. And then first stoppage of the third quarter, got it off the ruckman's hand, went to burst out of a stoppage. Use the word term burst loosely, but
exploded.
Went to run out of the stoppage, and he tackled me as I went to sort of pivot, and just came down on my leg, and it was just like that agony straight away, and then tried to sort of stand up, realised I was in a bit of pain.
Was it like a snapped one?
Nah, I don't even really know what happened, because after that I just went into shock.
Right.
So the next 45 minutes, and then the person that was meant to call the ambulance didn't. So everyone had thought the ambulance had been called, but it hadn't. So I was sitting there in a fair deal of pain for, I think it ended up being an hour and 20 minutes before the ambulance came, and I got taken to the hospital. So,
wow.
It's like that old Spider-Man meme where people are pointing at each other. No one knew who was actually meant to have made the call.
It's a tough thing to deal with. You're not an AFL player at this stage. You're budding. Might want to play footy. You're still studying. You're riding around in a gopher.
Yeah.
How do you go dealing with that? Do you feel like dream's over, or I don't know? What are your mindset? Initial
thoughts, dream's over. When I got the news at the hospital, they were like, "Oh, this is broken pretty badly." So then you have those fears of, will I be able to play again? They're like, they're going to be putting a big plate in your legs, and you just start having all these immediate concerns. But credit to most of the footy clubs, their list managers and recruiters, and even a couple of coaches just reached out, sent a message, and just said, "Mate, get your rehab right. You're good enough to be playing AFL footy, and if you can get your leg right, you'll be sweet." So that just sort of shifted my mindset pretty quickly from poor me to then having a focus of, all right, well, if I can get this right, I'll still get a chance to play AFL footy.
So you drafted pick 23 to Brisbane. What's your initial reaction?
Pretty flat, to be honest. Geelong boy, would have loved to stay in Victoria, and this is the thing. So I see a lot of kids these days come out and say they don't want to leave Victoria, they don't want to go into state, and it defers teams from drafting them. But it's the best thing that's ever happened to me. And the first couple of months are always tough when you move away from home, but moving to Brisbane was a great experience, and now I'm in bloody Perth. So if there are any 17, 18-year-old kids listening, just give it a go, because you never know how it's going to go. But Brisbane hadn't been very good for sort of 8 or 9 years. Moving up there away from family, it was a bit of a challenge early, but then once I sort of got into it, made good mates with Huey and Bez and Eric Hipwood and a couple of the Reece Matheson guys that were all around my age, and were able to have a bit of fun and just go and enjoy playing footy. So got to play a bit of senior footy early as well, which helps.
Yeah, you came into the team pretty early, didn't you?
Yeah, halfway through my first year. So when I got to Brisbane, trained for a couple of months, then realised my leg was still pretty sore, so I had to have another surgery.
Right.
Which put me out for another 10 weeks or so. Played 2 or 3 NEAFL games, did a 5-week hammy, played 2 or 3 NEAFL games, then played AFL for the rest of that year, which was good.
So was it just a clean-up or something, surgery or?
Tendon got wrapped around a screw in my leg, so it was giving me pretty bad pain.
Far out.
And being new to a footy club, and I was a shocking runner as well. So I was a bad runner, and I was coming off a broken leg. So we'd do as first years, do a little bit of training, and they'd send us out to the back oval, and we'd go and do a fartlek. And I'd be 3 minutes into this fartlek, and my leg would be hurting, but I'd be falling off the pace, and they'd be like, "This bloke's just trying to get out of running." And I'd be like, my leg is on fire. But they're like, "Nah, you're just a shit runner. You just got to stick it out." So that probably went on for a couple of weeks, where I'm not sure if they believed that my leg was actually sore, but finally got the scans, and then we got surgery and haven't had an issue since.
What was it like finding out you were going to debut?
That was a wild day, actually. My nan, who I was really close to our family, passed away that morning.
Wow.
So sort of got the call from mum, went into went into the club, like got the call as I pulled into the club, and then went in there, tried to do what I needed to do, but obviously I was a little bit flat, so I went home. Wasn't sure if I was going to come back for main training, and then went and saw Craig Lambert, who was he used to be the welfare manager at Brisbane and he went to the Giants and spent a bit of time at the Giants. Went and caught up with him for lunch, and he said, just go back to training and help take your mind off it, and went back to training, and I was playing that day, and he knew I was playing, so that's why he encouraged me to go back. But and then found out I was playing, and it was pretty exciting. It was just, a really great day for Mum, because her mum had just passed away and all that sort of thing, and then all the family were on the plane the next day and came over to Brisbane and got walloped by the Giants by 60 points, but still a great experience.
Yeah, so do you think your family looks back on that as a real, sort of, not moving on or whatever it is, almost, and I don't think it's fate, but, the fact that you sort of lose something and you gain something?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. But Mum's spoken about that before, and it sort of helped her through that time, because it was really exciting for her, and I think she was just so happy in the fact that Nan would have been so happy to see me playing. So there was definitely an element of that.
Chris Fagan, his first year, your first year?
Yep.
Is that right?
Yep.
So I hear people speak about him as a father figure. You sort of see how he interacts with players, having no idea what it actually is. Like, what sort of coach is he? Is that?
He was, especially in my first couple of years, I had a bit of homesickness sort of in that January period so I got drafted in November, and that January period was tough as I just had surgery on my leg and all that sort of stuff. And, he'd take me out for coffee, and, we'd go and chat at the cafe for a couple of hours, and he'd be, really good with his time.
As a head coach?
As a head coach, yeah.
Is that normal?
No. Not in my experience.
Yeah, no,
I've never had a coffee with Adam Simpson or John Westphal, put it that way.
No, he was really giving with his time. And then my first couple of years, he would always sort of back me in, and for the guys like myself and Huey and Bez and Cam Rayner coming through, he always sort of supported us a lot early days, and sort of helped get the most out of our footy. And some of those guys are doing really good things at Brisbane now, but. I think if you were just a good bloke, worked hard and that sort of thing, he would give you a lot of time. And if you weren't a good bloke, then he probably didn't have as much time for you.
Again, this is external, viewing inwards. You see Fags down on the bench. He's down on the bench more than any other coach in the AFL. It sometimes looks like he's just like a fan down there. He's just...
Yeah, he's very passionate.
Yeah, shows his emotions.
Yeah.
You think the players respond well to that?
It can be... At times.
What's he saying down there?
I can't even really remember, but, you'd stuff something up. You'd have a bad contest, or you'd kick one straight down the opposition throat, and they'd kick a goal. Be your turn to rotate, and you'd be coming off, and you just see his eyes looking at you, and you go, fuck. You'd run past him as quick as you could and sit as far away as you could on the bench. But for the most part, he was really good on the bench. Really good at communicating and staying involved in the game. You obviously see the moments where he's really passionate, but that's 1% of what he does on the bench. So
Yes.
The other 99% is really, really positive and helpful. And he was a really good coach and a really good mentor for the couple of years that I was at Brisbane. And I think he gets the most out of his players. And he probably coaches differently to maybe other head coaches. He's like a real people person and connector of people and motivator of the group, and he obviously does a lot of the tactical stuff behind the scenes as well, but he's got like a right-hand man who's Danny Daly at the footy club, and he does a lot of that stuff as well, so they work really well together and bounce off each other.
So back on your first game, you got the family up from Geelong, you got friends and family there, I'm assuming. You're taking kick-ins?
Yeah, I was.
Is that right, Dan?
Second game, I think.
I think I was just looking at your name on Reddit, and someone said that there was like a question that was like, does anyone know of debutants being tasked with the duty of kick-ins on their first game? And the top comment was Alex Witherden.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think I took him maybe in my first game.
Because that's not normal, right? They don't usually trust like a...
Yeah, we had Daniel Rich down there as well, so...
Right.
Can kick.
It was like... I reckon there was just like a 1 or 2 week period where he was just bombing it long every time, so the coaches just decided we want someone who's going to try and kick short, and then I came in and I'll just try and pierce the eyes out of everything. Sometimes look amazing, and sometimes didn't.
Live and die by the sword.
Yeah, but so that's probably why I came in and did that. And then over my career, like if Richie was there, he'd take it. If he wasn't,
Yeah. Do you ever get the eyes, like give the ball over after kick-ins? Because I know that's happened to you.
Oh, yeah.
not really. Oh, because
Those are good kick. The difference between with old is with those a good kick.
I was always the junior to guys like Richie and Hodgie, so I knew if they were there, like they take it.
Yeah.
But if for some reason I thought, we're just doing the same thing, I'd just go in and just try and change it up and give it a different look. But yeah, sometimes Bunga will give you the eyes. He'll be like, "Nah, give it here, mate. This is going long and strong. He can kick the ball a lot further than I can."
This is an insightful question. As a backman and as someone who takes kick-ins, and if you don't feel comfortable about answering it, I'll give you the answer. But every now and then, do you just maybe take a step out of the square, even though you don't need to, just to
The thing is, I think I just nearly step out of the square every time because it's just the way you kick. If you can take an extra 3 metres to kick the ball and straighten up, it's just an easier way to kick. Like I reckon every now and then you can have a one-stepper and whatever, but early, like when you used to have to kick it to yourself, I reckon you could have kicked it to the same spot sometimes, and then you'd kick it to yourself. So you'd get pressed by the man on the mark, and you just make your job harder. But
now you can just wander out.
Now
it's in the back of your mind, like, look, I've had 13 touches here. It could easily be 14 if I take one step outside this line.
Early days, definitely. I think
with those now matured into an experienced athlete and also an experienced media man, because he's not going to give the answer I want. Let me tell you right now, I'll say it with though. Anytime I ever kicked out, I was like, I need to get this is an easy stat. An easy stat. I'll kick it myself, have a run. I might even get a bounce. I might even put that on the resume as well. I might put a bounce on the way out. Because you don't need to bounce it. Because just think about how far you have to run if you're kicking on, play on. But now you can just run out. I mean, it's very easy to get yourself an extra kick.
On the weekend, I run to like almost 50 before it even
Shanahan, mate.
Yeah. I see, I wouldn't be against it just not being a stat, to be honest. Like,
great answer.
It would just
smart.
It would get rid of a lot of, conversations, and it would just be like a more holistic, statistical point of view for fans and that sort of thing. Things wouldn't be covered up. Sometimes you have guys that, and I've had these games as well, where you actually have 11 touches, but you have 10 kick-ins, so you have 20 odd, and it looks good.
Yeah.
But you haven't really done a lot.
There you go. Very good.
So
now, well, some people find these very hard to come by. One of them, the Rising Star nomination. I've got 0.
Yep.
Witho has 2. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
How did you get 2 of these? I didn't think that was a thing.
No, in my first year, so I think you can only play. So I played
10.
9 games in my first year.
And you got a nomination?
Got a nomination against Richmond. Won the flag that year.
Okay.
So the ball was down your end a lot?
So the ball was down there a lot, yeah. And
Second
year, I'm not sure. Hawthorn. It was against Hawthorn, yeah. But yeah, second year in my, I don't know what game.
Do you get? Do you get something for getting nominated?
Get a plaque, go to the Rising Star Day. So,
any stories from that?
Not really. I saw about half the Rising Star class at a nightclub the night before the Rising Star. So the boys, that was like when you're 19.
Were you just getting takeaway food or something there? You went there.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But you're 19, you finish the season, and you know like what young boys are like, and they're like, oh, we've got a bit of freedom for a week. So back in Melbourne, and so everyone was pretty excited about that free trip to Melbourne. But yeah, it felt like the Brownlow for me because I was sort of in contention to win it, and I think I came 3rd in the end. But a few interviews and stuff beforehand. Second time around, yeah. Right. So a bit of an exciting day.
You had your second crack at it.
Yeah, I had my second crack at it. Didn't win it either, so
sounds good. Like it.
I'll ask about Luke Hodge joining the club because I know you've written about it in the past. Firstly, actually, I'm going to read you a little bit of something that you wrote in an article about this, and it's. The reason why I'm going to read it is because it's sort of relevant to Scully, and I want you to see if you can pick up on it.
Is Witho writing these articles?
This was like an Athlete's Voice article from quite a while ago.
Okay. Yeah, nervous to hear it.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's nothing about you. It's great. It says I'd watched plenty of YouTube clips from the line in the sand game against the Bombers and others, but probably my most enduring memory of Hodgie as a young bloke was heading out to the 2015 grand final and watching him kick the banana from 40 metres out on the boundary against West Coast.
Is that right?
He gave it the big pump up afterwards, and from that moment, you knew Hawthorn winning the flag.
Did you?
Yeah.
What do you remember about that?
I had a pretty good view of that. Yeah, I had a really good view. I effectively tore 3 ligaments in my ankle about 4 seconds prior to that as Hodgie palmed me to the ground, and I was standing in the crowd clapping on like this. I was on the ground going, "Oh fucking hell!" So you remember that, do we though?
Mate, I've got a lot of memories of that 2015 grand final. I stayed at the same, so we played in a curtain raiser for that game. The AIS played against like an Allies team at sort of 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock that morning. We stayed at the Pullman in Albert Park.
Yep.
That's where the Eagles stayed. So they were staying there the night before the grand final. Pritter was, me and Huey McCluggage were in the spa the night before. Pritter was down there doing his ice baths and came and sat with us and chatted to us for 10 minutes, which
Really?
when we were 17, we thought, how good's this?
That's amazing.
I remember Huey just having these big wide eyes, and he honestly didn't stop smiling for 2 weeks afterwards. He was just so happy. So, Pritter and Bunger flowed through the ice baths. And then we saw a few of the boys in the lobby the next morning looking a bit worse for wear as well. But, then we went to the game and we sort of sat down there. We were sitting right behind where Brian Lake did that diving smother. So on Josh Hill.
Probably.
Yeah. So,
One of the forwards.
Yeah, it was a pretty good experience. Obviously now,
Yeah.
I would have wished that West Coast had won, but
I mean, Luke
it led
Hodge-
to greater things.
Luke Hodge, what's he like? We've spoken to Xavier Ellis on the podcast, I've spoken to Matt Spanger on the podcast, guys that would have spent time with him, but what was your reflection on him as a player and as a leader?
He just came in, obviously from Hawthorn, and they'd been super successful, and he had a way in which he liked things done. And that was all right when you train. And Scully and a few of the boys at West Coast are very similar. But when you train, you train and you train hard and you compete hard. When you're in the gym, you do the same. Obviously, when you get your time away from the footy and you can have a beer, you have a beer, but it doesn't affect anything you do with your career or anything like that. So he was pretty professional, very competitive, had very similar traits to Scully, but his leadership was just second to none. Like on the footy field, his ability to lead. I didn't have to think for my first 3 years really, because he would be telling me where to stand. So it'd be a stoppage and he'd be like, with 2 metres left, he'd be talking to Richie, right. So you just had like this constant coaching in the back of your ear the whole time. And There's no doubt that he helped progress my footy career in that aspect. And then just the way he saw the game and challenged people to be better. During a game, he would see things that were happening that sometimes hadn't been even seen in the coach's box, and he'd be able to rectify that on the spot. So he had a lot of what ifs for scenarios because he'd just seen so much. But
on-field coach gets spoken about. Is that what it?
He was. Yeah, and I haven't really seen anyone like him. Like everyone else leads in different ways. Also, as a midfielder, you're just around the ball. You're probably too puffed to be doing that all the time. But as a back, he just set people up. Very good at getting himself free. But yeah, it was a great organiser. And then even, he was on his last legs, but he played a couple of finals in 2019. He was our best player in both finals. So just his ability to stand up in the big games and the big moments, would never get beaten in the contest. So yeah. Great.
He stitched you up one time after training.
I'm not sure what you're
with a bit of a prank during a team meeting. Do you remember this?
Nah.
Something under your chair. I'll refresh your memory.
Refresh it, Dan.
You stitched him up at a Mexican place.
Oh yeah.
And he paid you back with making you dance in front of everyone.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So
It's been wiped from with those memories.
I do remember this now. Mexican. We made it. It was in the preseason, and we just got him to start singing Happy Birthday, and they brought out a tequila shot, so we had to do that. And then in a team meeting, Fags used to go, all right, if you've got a yellow, like a little sticky note under your chair, you got to get up and dance. And he'd obviously teed it up with Fags, put it under my chair, which was set seats back then. Wow. And I had to get up in front of the group and dance. And I think you either got to go all in or not do it at all. So went all in and made a fool of myself.
What did you do? What did you, I don't know where I'm going to there. Like Macarena, maybe. Like, what are you actually pulling out?
Nah, I think I don't know if I want to talk about it, but I just went the old Magic Mike pony strip dance on him. So
on fags or Hodgie?
Nah, not on fags, on Hodgie. Rig out, that sort of stuff.
Very good.
Brilliant.
Like it a lot. So that's Luke Hodge. You had another one. So, look, before you came to the footy club, and so we never got to play together because you got there the year I left, effectively.
Yeah.
One of them, I don't know. Hopefully you're not getting paid what I got paid. Might have even taken my spot down, I don't know.
Nah.
I certainly didn't have my spot. But I always watched you and thought you had just a little bit of white line fever.
Yeah.
Would you describe yourself in that fashion?
Yeah, can definitely.
Like you're a placid guy off the field.
Yeah.
You're talking now.
Yeah,
Seem pretty chill.
Yeah, I think once I start playing, and sometimes there'll be a moment in the game that'll just sort of trigger something. But yeah, I think as a backman, you've got to have that about you, otherwise you just don't survive.
What did you do to Tom Lynch to make him smack you in the back of the head that time?
I was chirping a lot, and we'd played Gold Coast a lot in the previous years, and him and Harris used to have really good battles, and I'd sort of get up in his face and that sort of thing, and I was doing the same on that day. And as backlines do, you always put like a really good forward in the gun as such, so we'd just be working him over. Any chance we got, you give him an elbow. So he was well within his rights to slam my head into the ground that day.
Was it a big rivalry, Brisbane Gold Coast?
It was for a bit because we couldn't win a game. Neither team could win a game, so it was like, all right, we need to win this week. So yeah, it was. It was for both clubs. I mean, Queensland didn't really care about it at the time, and neither did anyone in the AFL. But for both footy teams, it was. I think Gold Coast haven't won for a bit like the Derby a few years back. Like Brisbane have sort of had the wood over them for a while now.
Compare that to West Coast Freo. You've played in derbies over here.
Yeah.
So it's the Q clash over there.
Q
and the
clash,
derby
yeah,
here.
very different. The media build it up here like no tomorrow. I'm sure this week. Like we're heading into a derby this week as we speak, but I'm sure post game on Sunday there was already questions being asked about it to both coaches, and the West build it up. You know, the Channel 7 build it up. BackChat build it up. It's everywhere. And then you obviously get 50,000 people there, and Freo and West Coast supporters are very loyal supporters. So yeah, it's a whole different ball game. You can't really compare the two. But on field, I'd say it's very similar in terms of the desire to win, the little rivalry. Certain players you play against, because you normally play them in a practice game, you play these teams 3 times a year. So you just have like guys that you play on all the time that you're just looking forward to trying to get out and beat every time.
Are you immune to that media coverage in Brisbane and Gold Coast, do you think, in Queensland teams?
It's so different. Like I've had 2 completely different footballing experiences. In Brisbane, you're off Broadway, and we had a couple of years where we were pretty solid. I think we finished second 2 years in a row when I was there. And, your bad performances don't get the recognition that your bad performances do here, and your good performances probably don't either. But yeah, it's a completely different thing. Even when you go to cafes and that sort of thing, you don't have anyone bailing you up over there, unless you're probably Lockie Neal or 200 centimetres like Harris Andrews or something. Whereas here, I think everyone sort of cops it to an extent. So yeah, it's been eye-opening coming here, but either way, it just is what it is. It's just a part of your life.
Do you playing in Brisbane? Did you ever take notice of the derbies over here? Does it seem like a big deal? Because for us over here, it seems like one of the biggest games of the year. But do players outside the state look over and be like, "Yeah, it's just another game"? Or
no, I don't think so. I think you always envy those teams that get to play in those games. So over there, I'd look at the derby, the showdown. Collingwood Essendon on Anzac Day. Like you'd love to play in games like that. So we're pretty lucky as a football club to be able to have 2 games a year, regardless of whether you're good, bad, or indifferent. You get to turn up and have a massive crowd, a massive game, and if you win, it just feels like a huge reward. So pretty lucky.
Get a drink, mate, while you're coughing your guts out over there. So talking about Brisbane and looking on over here, so you traded at the end of Brisbane 2020. What's that process like, getting traded from an AFL club?
Yeah, it was strange. End of 20, I wasn't playing as much as I would have liked. They'd sort of recruited a few guys like Archie, Birchall. They'll look at getting a few others in. So, I just saw an opportunity with West Coast to come and have a fresh start. Felt like they had a few older players going out like yourself. I think Jets was finishing up.
Yep.
Shep was into his 30s, so just saw longer term there was going to be greater opportunity, and was really excited about the prospect of coming to West Coast. But it's tough because you're leaving your mates behind, you're leaving what's familiar, had a house, all that sort of stuff. So it probably wasn't as tough as guys that go to a club and say I'm leaving, and then they say no, you're not. It was probably, they were like, I said I was keen to explore things, and they were like, okay, we'll see where things lie and see if it works for us. And they were trying to get Danaher in, and they had other moving pieces, so it kind of worked for them as well, and then it worked for me. So it was it was kind of mutually beneficial, which made it easier. But yeah, it was tough. And then my partner from Queensland, she moved over as well, so it was a big adjustment for her as well.
A lot of guys want to move close to home, especially as you said, you didn't want to leave Victoria at the beginning, so you moved probably as far away as possible from Victoria.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
Was that part of your decision making? Like, was that, you just really wanted a fresh start and get out of anything you knew?
Yeah, I think it. There was a few opportunities back in Victoria, but West Coast was just the one that made the most sense in terms of what I wanted to get out of my football, and obviously security and all that sort of stuff. So I think it just didn't matter. I was just keen to play footy, and this was the best opportunity in a really good football club, and I was really excited about coming here. Oh my God, sorry.
Alex Witherden, mate.
Sounds like he was choking up from just emotions. He's actually just
put the drink bottle on your lap.
It's fine. You can just put the drink bottle on. Don't be afraid to drink.
You're saying so many words.
It's okay.
Scully knows that I love talking, so I just keep going, and I can't breathe anymore.
Breathe in between sentences.
We don't have a sports drink sponsor at the moment, do we? Put it on this side.
Put it over here to start the shot a bit.
If Gatorade does want to get involved with the show, we're happy to take them on board.
Gatorade times BackChat.
Yeah, correct.
I'm keen. I love the Wallaby Gold Rush, and I also like the.
Do you like yellow?
Oh, sorry, that's Powerade. We're talking Gatorade. I like
Gold Rush is it's yellow.
Yeah, it's nice. Like mango. It's good. It's very good. Or grape.
So Wallaby Gold Rush is the orange or the yellow?
Gold Rush is orange.
It's not mango.
Powerade.
No, it's not orange flavored. It's orange in color, but it's like mango flavor.
I think he's right.
Yeah, it is.
Mango Powerade. I'm sorry, Dame. I'm deferring to you over there.
It's Gold Rush. It's not orange flavor. Gatorade have orange. Powerade have.
So what does Powerade have? Yellow.
Yeah, like lemon lime or whatever.
Yep.
They've got orange, which is orange.
Yep.
Grape, which is delicious. They've got watermelon.
Watermelon's delicious.
Just stay in yellow and orange. Is there a mango in between yellow and orange? Or are you just telling me
two different drinks, mate?
I know.
He's talking Powerade.
I know. Is there three? Is there a yellow, a mango, and orange? Or is there just a yellow and an orange?
It's just a yellow and an orange.
For Powerade?
Yep.
Yeah.
And you're saying the orange is like mango?
Yeah.
What's yellow then? That's still just
like lemon lime or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great chat.
I'll just pat it a little bit so Alex's throat calms down a little bit. But I will like to take this offline with you. I don't agree with you. Just want you to know that.
Alex has just backed me up and said, I think
I
he's
don't agree with you either, Alex. Okay. Is your voice okay now?
I'm seriously emotional. I'm just choking up talking about all this trade stuff.
So I kind of had the same questions about the West Coast movement, and I know it's sort of, fresh start, but it probably will look at the list. Yeah, Jetta, Schofield, Hearn's getting older, but he's still playing. Brad Shepherd at the time is all Australian or coming towards that as well. So it was a strong back line.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Did you look at it as a challenge, and rather than I'm assuming you might have had opportunities at weaker backlines or?
Yeah, I think like most players, I thought, and Voz was a big part of the move. He said,
Craig Vozzo, GM of footy at the time, and he's now CEO of Western Football Club.
He's like, you might not step straight into this team, so be aware of that. And I was aware of that. But I thought 2020, West Coast had just lost the final. Oh my God.
What has happened?
I don't know. Sorry, guys.
No, don't apologise.
Do you need to be that hopped up? It's okay. It's okay.
Do you want me to start again or just keep going?
You keep going, mate. People will be having a good chuckle you to cough your lungs out. Alex Witherden, removed from the dirty. Lost a lung.
It
on the
was
BackChat podcast.
It was definitely going to be a challenge. And I wasn't aware that you were done and Jets were done when I first had those initial conversations either. So I knew that I was going to be probably, just behind the 8 or 9 that were already there. But I was willing to put in the work and try and go past those guys. And I thought long term there'd be opportunity. Whereas at Brisbane there was all guys younger or my age, and that sort of thing. And then there were different moving pieces, and there was a lot of players similar to the way I played at Brisbane. Best thing about West Coast is fresh set of eyes, different coaches, different game style. I've learnt to play a completely different way over here and develop so many different aspects of my game. Had I have stayed in Brisbane, I might not have, because you just you're kind of stuck with that original perception of what you are and what you can be. So I think that's been really good. And then obviously now I'm in a position where it's over to me to just secure that spot in the team and just keep doing my role each week. And you know what it's like. If you can just play your role most weeks, you'll keep getting a game, and if you can't, then you won't. But that's just the way it is.
What are challenges of moving clubs? Like, what's hard?
Initially, the cultures were a little bit different. So there was a bit of an older culture here. Guys that had been around for a long time. So they had a certain way of doing things. Brisbane was a very young, sort of vibrant group that you just come in and be yourself and you'd be accepted for that. And there were some weird dudes at Brisbane, like loved them, but like Reece Matheson, like shotgun, all the weird stuff that he would do, like Matty Eagles.
Matty Eagles, the recruit.
The recruit.
Do you know?
The recruit from the TV show.
Mate, we played him in the Hub 2020. So we would have still been at Brisbane.
Yeah.
And Matty Eagles played, and I was battling it up in the twos, and we would do these match simulations, and much like the one this year, but there was like 9-on-9, and you'd be on some back oval at Carrara, like just genuine dirt. Yep. Anyway, one of the games was against Brisbane and Matty Eagles. And I spent the entire game in, mind you, like it's genuinely a training session. It's not a game.
Yeah.
Lipping off at Matty Eagles, calling him the recruit.
The recruit.
Mate, that was a pretty physical game from all reports. No, I didn't. But from all reports, there was a bit of biff.
Well, there's nothing else to do. So it was like, no, we may as well fight these boys. There's nothing, nothing personal. But like, you're just stuck in a hotel with the same people all the time. So you see some new people. It's like, let's go.
Yeah. So
sorry, I interrupted.
Yeah, so we had like a lot of weird dudes. So it was just like a bit of a weird culture. Like you just sort of embrace that. And then you came here and obviously there's a lot more external pressure and the football club was just run a little bit differently. And we had like really senior players that, really professional and that sort of thing and really detailed around what they did. So it was just a different sort of environment initially. And then now it's probably shifted. It's Brisbane are probably more the way that West Coast used to be, and West Coast is probably the way Brisbane used to be because it's got a younger list. So it's just that cycle and just trying to fit into where the club's at that time.
I've because you've played at both now, a club outside of Brisbane and in Brisbane. I've heard Scully talk about the away rooms at Brisbane and how bad they are. Shocking. Can you attest to like that and the difference between the home rooms?
Well, what are the home rooms like?
The home rooms. So we used to train. Like our base was at the Gabba, but we would train at local footy grounds and stuff in pre-season.
So we got with a drink of water, and then he may still pass away. But we hope he does stay with us for the rest of the podcast. Now we're asking about the away rooms and the home rooms because the away rooms at Brisbane are the worst in the AFL, and you don't have to say that. I can say that. Shocking. You've had experience in both.
Yep.
What's the deal? So
we used to go to work every day. Our gym and stuff was at the Gabba. So it was a bit like the old Subi setup. Underneath the grandstand, you'd have like a gym and a team meeting room and a locker room and all that sort of stuff. And it was very old and outdated. very much like the away rooms are. And often there would be just this sewage leak, maybe from 2018 to 2020, and you would just smell sewage all day, every day.
It's in the home ones.
In the home rooms.
Oh, that's worse than what you're talking about.
You'd be doing gym and you'd be like, what's that smell? But we became so accustomed to it. It'd be like, like, I can't even smell it. And then you'd have people from outside go, what's that? And we're like, what's what? Like, we just became so accustomed to it over the years. But we almost like loved it. It was like a badge of honour that we had these kind of crappy rooms and poor facilities. And, you know, in summer we'd go train at 6 different ovals. You'd have your boots in your car. You'd have about 15 water bottles because you'd grab them from training and just throw them in the back. So you'd be lugging your gear around everywhere. So that was weird when I first got drafted. But I thought the home rooms were average, and then I played there in 2021 in the away rooms, and they are shocking. It's like 5 different levels. None of it makes sense. Where you're trying to do a warm-up in the kick warm-up area, there's like a 4x4 area of space with 2 massive poles in the middle. So it's just, it's shocking. And you have to walk probably 70 metres to get from the change rooms to the kick room, which is a fair walk in change rooms.
Do you remember your first game for West Coast?
Yep, Friday night against Pies.
Really?
Big.
At Optus? MCG?
At Optus, yeah. So there was 50-odd thousand there. And
Wow. Did your family fly over for that?
yeah, they came over and we had a good win. So that was a pretty special night as well. Big JD and Oscar kicked 5 each. And
Jumper presentation?
yep, their family in the change room. Simo presented me with my jumper. So yeah, good moment for the family.
Did you get to pick your jumper number?
Yep. So I took 23 because of Glassy and Jets and those guys that sort of come before me that were...
Was 31 available?
No, I think JJ had already taken that.
I think he swooped it up as soon as he left.
Yeah, right. I was going to say, I hope you didn't turn down 31 for 23.
I
but I
think
feel
Harry
like
Edwards tried to get in the 31, but it was already gone.
I did hear that, a rumour that I may have started. What about your first goal for West Coast?
Derby.
And only goal for West Coast.
Only goal for West Coast. Derby. He was at 21. Big Nathan Vardy, bit of forward half pressure, turned the ball over, wrapped around the back, nailed it from 55.
Was a handball around the back?
Handball around the back.
Was a free kick and you got the handball?
Turnover, he marked it. I ran around the back, got it, drained it from 55.
Big kick.
Yeah, it hit it sweetly. And we were down like 40-8 in the first quarter of that game. And the third quarter, we just got on this comeback and I kicked a goal that sort of put us within 20. We kicked a couple more, got within, 4 points. So the crowd was just right behind us. So it was like it's a pretty big moment in the game. So it probably carried on a bit, got the boys up and about, but we lost the game still. So
Yeah, not ideal.
The carry on was good though. Everyone got around you.
yeah, it was good. It was a great moment. Probably favourite moment on the field for West Coast individually. Without any being a win.
As a backman and you have a first game, kick a goal, are you like, you got to run?
Depends on the moment / situation of the game. Jaden Hunt kicked it from the goal line on the weekend. No way was I getting all the way down there. We'd already celebrated.
He was on the wing as well.
Yeah, we'd already celebrated his maiden goal for the club in the Port Adelaide practice game, so tick that off. But Noah Long last week kicked one from the goal square and everyone got down there, and it's rare that Bunga gets down there, but everyone got to him. So there's sort of different moments in the game.
Yeah.
Constitute different responses.
What are your reflections on... I feel like we're going to lose him, Dan.
Yeah, that's right.
No, I'm all good. As long as I can cough every 3 minutes,
Okay,
and
that's
the
good.
viewers...
Put the cough filter on it. You won't hear a single cough.
What's the I don't know, what's the reflections on last year? It wasn't a successful ones for the footy club. Less about, I guess, the feeling and more about success, like, not winning. What's it like being around a footy club not winning? So that's what they're there for.
Yeah, it was definitely challenging at times. It's something now that we've completely moved on from. We don't talk about last year much, other than the fact that we learned a lot about ourselves. But I think individually, you realised how important winning is, and how, especially for your psyche, just the ability to come into the footy club after a win, you'd know like the locker room's just a completely different place. So when you don't have that, it's finding different ways to, get motivation early in the week. So we just doubled down on getting better, and that was, extra fundamentals, extra recovery, and professionalism just went through the roof. So we're like, all right, clearly there's a gap. And there was obviously reasons as to why we weren't performing the way we were. We had COVID and injuries and that sort of thing. But we just doubled down on professionalism and thought, let's be the best touch team in the comp. So we'd do a lot of extra handballs and a lot of extra ground balls and extra touch around the club. So we were coming in and doing extra sessions. We'd do extra recovery, found time to do extra weights. And I think flowing into the off-season and this pre-season, that's held us in really good stead. We're nowhere near where we want to be still at the moment, but we think some of those habits that we're able to create by being losers, by losing last year, has sort of flowed into our footy. And guys like Jermaine Jones, which you saw on the weekend, played a really good game, has taken his game to a next level because of that. But a lot of other younger guys and middle-aged guys are also going to benefit from that. And I think it's going to pay us back in the long run as well.
You also played in the 2 wins last year. So there would have been a lot of guys last year that played a fair chunk of games that didn't even get to get a win. So you got to be there for those 2, which is positive.
I'm not sure he'll love me bringing this up, but Harry Edwards might hold the record for the longest losing streak for a West Coast player
in the history of the club.
So look into that.
Thank you very much.
We think it stands at 19 or something like that.
Oh, brutal.
He missed. I think he played 17 games last year. Missed both wins.
Yeah, he did.
So
yep. So he had 4 losses at the end of 2021.
Yep.
And then 17. So yeah, he's
still rolling. He's still rolling.
Still an active streak.
Wow. So. Congratulations, Harry, on the active streak.
That's brutal.
Yeah, that is brutal. You joined a run club, talking about getting more professional. You joined a run club in the off season.
Yeah. Yeah. So
spoke about you not being a good runner. Were you trying to become a good runner, or you just feel like it's help you drive into something different?
Nah, so at Brisbane in my first 2 or 3 years, I was probably like a bottom 6 or 7 runner there. It's just saying I never did a lot growing up. Then had a lot of injury issues with my leg and my hips, and so I was just behind the 8 ball. Then came to West Coast and sort of changed my body shape a bit. So I used to play at like 87 kilos and now I play at 83. And then came here and saw like what some of our better high halfbacks and stuff do, and they're just good runners like Duggan and Cole and Nelson when he was playing, and just high work rate players, and that's kind of what's required of your high halfbacks. So thought it'd be something good to tap into. The year before I was going to do it, but I had groin surgery, so I couldn't do it then. But then I just went from a mid-pack runner to I think I finished 6th or 7th in our 2K this year, and that was
strong.
Big boy.
Took I think 35 seconds off my PB. So
holy shit! From what to what?
From 6:45 to 6:14.
Wow, 6:14 is quick, Dan. Just for those playing along at home. So quickest ever is like 5:55 in terms of quickest I've seen.
Yeah.
Like Jamie Cripps starts getting into those numbers. Chris Marston's been down there, but you're not getting much faster than 5:55.
Yep. 20 seconds off that pace. That's
but yeah, and then that's the quickest ever. The really good runners at football clubs are somewhere between 6:05 and 6:15, which is where Witho sits.
Yeah. So
very good.
Was able to sort of knock off 30 odd seconds there.
What were you doing?
So I'd go down. So I'd do the club's running program Monday to Friday. So Monday would be
West
Coast running program. So I won't go into details there, but do that Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Saturday mornings down at Kings Park, do like a 4K warm up jog, sort of. So like what a lot of runners do apparently. Then we'd do like a 2 or 3K like incline run at like sort of 7 out of 10 effort, and then we'd do the hill. So we'd do like 400 up, 200 down, 200 up like 3 or 4 times.
Sounds awful.
Bolt Park Hill on the grass there? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah. So all the running's elevated.
That's hell.
And then you'd finish with like a 500 metre incline max effort. And then you'd finish with a 2K steady state to finish. So it'd be about 11 to 12 Ks, and
That sounds just awful.
it was pretty
Certainly
tough,
does.
especially in October.
Yeah.
Coming back from Europe, I went to Europe with a few of the boys, and I think the first session I did was the week after grand final day, and you've been away on holidays and everything. It was a reality check. But as the weeks sort of flowed on, and just found I got better and better, and put in a lot of work and got some reward, and now it's sort of flowing into my footy. So it's good.
Do you think that will make you I know it'll make you a fitter player, but consistency? Like, do you think it'll make you a more consistent player? Is that what you hope?
Yeah, I think so. I think the ability to cover the ground these days is so important. It's become such a high transition game. But what it does is when you're cooked, you're not as cooked as you used to be. So when you got an important contest, you've still got that drive in your legs. When there's a ground ball on the wing that you need to win, you can get through the ball and you don't get knocked over because your legs aren't as jelly. Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of players in the competition are sound contest players, but I think a lot of the really good contest players are just really fit and they don't get as fatigued as other players and don't have those bad lapses in games. So I think it sort of ironed out any of those for me.
I had a dream team related question. Do you like you had a reputation of being a good dream team player as a Brisbane Lion and probably as a West Coast Eagle. I don't think I had you in my team, but I reckon I used to when you were. Do you as a player? Do you see any of that, or broadly more socials and either criticism or positive stuff or all the stuff
in my DMs? I do, yeah. I get a lot of messages about AFL fantasy. It's a massive thing, and we've got a comp at the club, so we've got sort of 8 of us that play.
Do you have yourself in your team?
Nah. So yeah, I do see some of it.
What's your views over it all?
I think it's good I think it's a good way to interact fans and that sort of thing. But I mean, I don't understand the whole messaging players, and I mean it's not. I don't think it's that important, but it's a good way to have banter with your mates and test your footy knowledge and understanding and that sort of thing for everyone that's out there playing.
Are you someone that can turn off the external noise? So you're talking about people messaging you. Are you someone that can turn that off and ignore it, or do you cop it?
Early days, not really, but I think the way I play at times, being in and out of a team as a sort of fringe player, if you play a bad game, you can get ribbed for it or whatever. So I think I've learnt to just not read anything. Got West Coast muted on a lot of stuff. I enjoy Twitter for cricket. I love my sport and cricket and golf and all that sort of stuff. So my own name and everything just have muted, so I just can't see any of that stuff.
That's interesting.
And it's not like I'm shying away from anything, but it's just I just don't need it. It's not important. People are allowed to have their opinion and are entitled to have their opinion, whether it's right, wrong, whatever.
Good, bad, ugly.
That's right. And if you play well, you don't need the pats on the back on social media. If you play poorly, you don't need the negative comments. So
I can't imagine you're out there there's a contest. You're like, Jezza 45 really wants me to win this, so I'm going to dig in.
There's none of that. And I think you learn as you get older. All that really matters is what your coach and your senior coach, your line coach, and your teammates think of you. Whereas I reckon in my first 2 or 3 years, I'd go, oh, geez, wasn't that bad, was I? Because, Simon Hick _94 from Ballarat said that I'm soft. Geez, am I soft? And that's what you think about when you're 19. But, now it's whatever.
What is probably the last one for me. What drives you? What drives you as an athlete or as a West Coast Eagle? What motivates you?
I think it's still just to win a premiership. I'm lucky and envious at the same time of guys like yourself, but guys like Sheeta and Gov and Tommy Cole and guys at the footy club that have won a flag, and every day you see their names on the locker with a little premiership logo next to it, and that that just drives you to want to be one of those. And the West Coast Premiership players are just royalty to the footy club. They get looked after seriously well, and they're all really well connected to the footy club still. So to be a Premiership player for West Coast is still the dream. It's a childhood dream I've had. And I think that's the overarching goal. And I think you have little goals within that help you achieve that, I guess. So like getting fitter and that sort of stuff, or those little measurables that help you achieve that team success, that, you know, hopefully I can have a little eagle on my ankle like everyone else does.
or on your shirt, like Dan.
Yeah.
You got anything else for Witho before we get to the really big segment of this?
No, let's do it. Let's go straight in.
All right, social media. We know what that's about. We've just spoken about you interacting with people, but this isn't social media. This is Social Media. You're welcome, Witho. Social Media, where we bring you the questions from the fans. You've heard enough from Dan and I. This is where the real shit gets into it. I'm not starting with that one. We can come back to that at the end. T_Dizzy __.
Is there something that you suck at that you wish you were good at, like dancing or cooking?
Or not those examples.
Or other things?
I wish I was just really technologically savvy. Like, I wish I could do coding or like a really good gamer or something like that, because there's so much money in that these days, and it seems like a pretty good way to live your life. So I wish I was good at that stuff.
Only poor tech. I can't say that word either.
Yeah.
Actually,
like
bad with technology.
Yeah, I'm just
moderate.
very so. Like I do uni and I do
So Microsoft
Word and PowerPoint and all that sort of stuff.
PowerPoint.
Yeah. But my girlfriend's an investment banker, and she has all these different codes up, and she's just pumping out Excel spreadsheets, and it's a different world.
The Matrix. I can just imagine with those business, like numbers flowing down.
She's got like the laptop there with the two screens up there, and mouse
monitor.
Flowing everywhere.
Dual monitor, we like that.
Yeah.
We love that, actually.
I love that that's his benchmark for like dual monitors.
Yeah, dual monitors.
Look, with those rolled out Microsoft Word and PowerPoint, I think we've established the level of technical. I can't say. I'm not going to say that word again.
It's fine.
Marty Mudcrab 6.
Who has the worst post-goal song at the Lions? And I'm going to add myself. What was yours while you were there?
Mine was a Fred Again song. I can't remember which one I picked though.
Right. So just pause that question. We'll come back on that. Seb Vanders asks,
as an admirer of Fred Again, I hope you see some snags from you in 2023. Who was the brains behind adding songs to goals at home games in 2023? And what teammate do you fear most when in charge of the pre-game pump-up music?
So I don't know who was in charge. I think it was the media team that were in charge of getting music. Was there music after the goals on the weekend?
I don't think so.
Remember.
But I've seen a list of your
I
songs.
saw that too, but I don't recall it being there on the weekend.
I don't either.
I have to investigate that.
Yeah, no, I've got a
Get to
Fred
the
Again
bottom
song.
of it.
I just can't remember which one I picked. I just got caught up in the January Fred Again hype.
Bit of carry on from you, by the sounds of it.
Yeah. But Jamie Cripps on the tunes, no good. Who else? Jai Cully, no good.
I mean, Luke Shuey's been running it for years, and I couldn't really say he's very good either.
Yeah, we got a little committee together. Duggo sort of headed up. Music committee pre-game. So it was Duggo, myself, Coley, and Roth, Jake Waterman.
So you removed Luke Shuey.
Oh yeah, we took control. Yeah, there was the 2 years I was here. It was just the same tracks running over and over.
Oh yeah, tried 10 years before that, never changed.
So yeah, we got a few new beats this year, which is good.
I know Charlie Cameron, because when I was watching the game this weekend, they played Country Road 3 or 4 times. Quite like it's really loud.
They normally play it when he kicks a goal.
Yeah. So they're still definitely rolling it out.
Right, well done, Gabba.
Well, there's always conflicting views on that, because they did it in the finals last year, and I saw there was a lot of backlash about music in between goals. So.
Yeah, I'm not a massive fan of it. Not sure if we really need music rolling out. Like, there's 50,000 people carrying on. There's just been a goal. We don't.
Yeah.
Do you? You're looking at me like you want music. I mean, go down to the 2020, mate. There's fireworks and there's fucking all the carry-ons.
Yeah, if the right song came on and you were 12 beers deep and someone kicked an amazing goal, you'd be up and about.
Did we miss it on Sunday? I don't
know. I don't know.
Electric feeling at the ground.
Yeah.
Without the music, I think. Now, Benjamin Fox 91 asks,
What's the strangest thing you've heard someone say on the footy field? It's a hard question to answer. But there would be some strange
any
things.
good sledges? You've heard Hodgie roll anything out? You
would have given
Dane
some.
Zorko was a former teammate of yours. I'm just like trying to prompt things here.
Yeah.
Mitch Robinson seems like he'd be the sort of guy that would say weird stuff on the field.
I just say aggressive stuff.
Yeah.
Like
Not a lot of wit coming out of Robbo,
overly
so.
aggressive.
Shout out Robbo, by the way. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, no, Robbo's a good man. Good family. But I can't even remember any of the best sledges that I've heard. I mean, I don't know if there's a lot of it going around these days anymore. A lot of people are mates within the competition.
Soft.
And
I would describe them as soft. You looked at me.
yeah, I know. But like even in our backline, like the guys still refer to Scully as the one that would do that. So I don't know who really does that for us anymore.
Though never had the pleasure there. Talking West Coast Eagles asks,
Sorry, I thought that was a sentence. Which teammate do you want to be when you grow up?
what did you want to be? You were a North Melbourne fan growing up.
Yeah, I loved Glenn Archer growing up. And guys like Brent Harvey and Shannon Grant and, obviously had Simo there as well.
Is there any sort of montage to former Geelong College athletes that have made it big time in the AFL? Is there any sort of remembrance for people that come out of there? Like,
your name was always thrown around.
I would have liked to have thought there was something back at the other. I mean, I'm sure the Coolbinia High would have Dan Const.
Coolbinia Bombers.
No, yeah. Well, I'm talking about schools.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's something of Dan Const up there, maybe.
Probably not.
There was always an eye kept on yourself and Ed Kerno and those sort of guys when I was, year 7, year 8, because you always go, oh, those guys played here.
Did you play with Charlie Kerno?
Yeah, played 2 or 3 years with Charlie.
Was he older or younger or the same year?
Year older, yeah. So played at Falcons with him, played at Geelong College.
Was he a beast back at school?
So he was fat, like chubby, and he wouldn't care me saying that because he just didn't grow into his body until he was maybe year 10 or 11.
Weren't you a bit chubby?
Yeah. I was chubby until about 2 years ago though. He was just chubby and didn't grow into his body, and then like had a growth spurt and then just came out. And I remember one first college game, he just kicked 5 out of nowhere and then just like rapidly went up the recruiting draft boards. But he's those Kernos are blessed with elite athletic traits.
Tappy 95. Finish him off.
How does Wither
Put him out
like
of
his
his-
eggs cooked? Sincerely, the Eggman.
Poached.
Yeah.
A little bit runny.
Really?
Yeah, a little bit runny.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
I've got one more question before we
Okay,
finish.
I'll allow it.
Does the shin boner spirit still live within you?
It didn't last weekend, that's for sure. I was no Shimboner spirit anymore.
There you go.
You done, mate?
Cool.
Did you have fun?
Had fun.
Did you cough your lungs out?
Yeah, I can't wait to get home and drink a gallon of water.
Very good. That's Alex Witherden, everybody. You can follow us on socials, BackChat _. Find everything you need to do over at backchatpodcast.com.au. Sign up as a patron if you want to hear the exclusive chat we're about to have with Witho that goes up on Patreon only. Never said that right in my life. All of this, big thanks to Fleet Network. BackChat, of course, powered by Fleet Network this year, fleetnetwork.com.au. Thanks to our sponsors, our partners, Swimply, Whippersnapper Whisky, Margaret Roasting Co, BlueBet, Shelter Brewing Co, and, of course, Leadable Cameras. I think I'm done. I'm out of breath. I need a drink too.
Yep.